Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar today. And man, before we get started, please subscribe to the magazine if you like the content. If you don't like the content, subscribe anyway. We need your names and we need the algorithm boost. Share, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, Instagram, follow, share, tell all your friends, tell your mother, tell everybody about us. We really we're on this quest to grow the interest in jazz guitar and guitar in general, actually. So with that being said, we have a very special guest today that I don't know, actually truly unique, truly describes you.
Wow.
There ain't nobody like Bruce Forman. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the maestro, the man. He's not a myth. He is a legend. Bruce Forman. How
There's
you doing, Bruce?
a rumor in my spare time.
A rumor. I've never heard that one before. I've heard a legend, and I've heard a legend in my own mind, and a rumor in
I
my spare time. I can appreciate that. Can you hear me? Okay?
can hear you great,
Is it
man.
loud,
How
loud
about
and
you?
clear? So, Bruce, what are you doing, man? What's going on with you?
What am I doing?
What's up with you today?
Today. Oh, today. Well, today actually is like the first day off in like forever. I unfortunately am missing out on juries at USC because
Ooh,
I was on the road till last night and I couldn't make it back to Los Angeles in time for the juries. So I'm missing out on that. But it's the first day off in the longest time. I've just been, I mean, it's been the busiest year maybe of my life, playing wise. It's been great.
well, for those of you who don't know, Bruce is a phenomenal entertainer, along with being a master of the guitar. Great entertainer, um, fun guy to go check out his shows. So the beauty of what you do is not only are you mesmerizing people with your guitar playing, but you also are just fun to hang out with and listen to your stories and listen to your yarns, which is really, really great. And I'm so happy that you're busy, man. I mean, I
Yeah,
love that.
it's been
You,
great. I mean, obviously various things, I think I attribute a lot of it to I'm an older guy. I'm not the most tech intuitive person as I started this whole thing off with. And, but I did make that decision on March 14th of 2020 to embrace the internet fully. I
right.
mean, I just kind of kept it at arm's length, using it for promotion, for let people know where my gigs were and email and stuff, but never really like embracing the community of online.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the pandemic happened, I jumped in. I did like that TV show from my house called Grumps TV. There's like 50 episodes of that on my YouTube channel. And I started that Instagram thing called First Course of the Day, where I just come out here to my shed, or if I'm in a hotel room, and whatever the first minute of music I make is, I pick a song, that's what goes out to the world. And I had been very religious, consistent doing it until now. I just do it sort of every now and again, every couple of days. But I attribute that to like not only keeping the community intact, but also letting more people know who I was. And it's sort
Yeah.
of it. So when things opened up, uh, that and the project with the guitar, um, those two things just sort of, when things opened up, people just wanted, it just made me a good call for work.
So let's back up just a minute. Now, so you mentioned that you're missing out on juries at USC.
Yes. Sorry,
So
guys. I feel like I'm a deadbeat dad or something.
so you are obviously teaching at USC.
That's correct. Yes.
Do you have a title there? I mean, is there
I think it's artist in residence or assistant professor, artist in residence, something like that.
now?
Yeah.
Are you still teaching? Were you teaching at UCLA as well at one point, or
No, no, I
no?
never was at UCLA. I was always USC.
USC. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's Kenny Burrell. They got enough over there.
yeah, I guess one could say that, right?
Yeah, yeah. They're fully loaded.
Yeah, it's kind of starts and stops with that, doesn't it? It's sort of
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay. That's sort of, yeah, that, yeah, okay. I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
So, let's get back to you mentioned the guitar project. So for people that don't know, you are the proud owner of Barney Kessel's instrument.
Right, right.
And you had it kind of, I don't want to say refurbished, but you had it kind of brought to your spec, for you to
Well,
play it.
no, actually, I mean, I have not changed anything about it. Nothing. Nothing has been changed except for, of course, I changed the strings and like adjusted the action. It's just stuff that we do like with setups. But I know I've kept it religiously. I'm even using the same basic kind of strings he used.
Really?
I wanted to keep it. Yeah, I wanted to keep it that way, and it had been that way for 40, 50 years. I figure it's
I
good.
guess where I was coming from is that you lowered the action, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
lowered the action. It was, and weird. Barney liked a lot of relief in the neck, so it was like inconsistent action the way he played it. I mean, he was super physical, and I guess he liked it that way. But I like a straighter neck, kind of
Yeah.
consistent action throughout the instrument. So that was the basic change, you would say fundamentally. I mean, you could easily put it back to the way it was when Barney had it just by adjusting the truss rod.
Well, the picture on your website, the thing looks to be in like brand new condition, for God's sakes.
Really? God, well,
On the
if you
website.
if you're in the well, I mean, it's if you're in the room with it, it looks more like a dog that lost every fight. Um, uh,
Is that it right there?
yeah, this is it. Let me switch to Lobster Cam, called Lobster Cam because for some reason it's like super red. Check it out.
Okay.
See,
Oh
like
yeah.
everything red.
That's not
Um,
bad.
uh, Here, let
Yeah,
me.
I can see it now. I can see some of the
Tons of
scars.
cracks around, and then they had to put a plate there because it's just like smashed to smithereens
It
all
looks like
around
it.
here. And my guess is what happened here is Barney always brought with him this like this guitar stand that looked like, you remember those old music stands we used to have that were just like real thin metal, those they'd blow over if you sneeze kind of
Yep,
thing.
I remember those stands.
And he had one of those stands, and my guess is it was probably sitting on the stand and he or somebody else walked by and their foot got caught in the cable,
Yeah, there it
and
goes.
then and it just pulled it over, and it's literally like all the way you can see it. It's like the top got separated. I mean, see
Yeah.
that. And it's got a lot of weight at the bottom. My guess is either there's another piece of wood or cleats down here, to hold it all together.
Keep it
Um,
together.
Obviously, whoever did the mounting of the Charlie Christian kind of used an ice pick. Um, you know, uh,
The state of
and I think it was a good friend of mine, Jim Cunningham, did a lot of this work. I'm not trying to. I mean, it was like the neck here. Can you see this? The
Yep.
headstock break. This is not.
Excuse
This
me.
is not pretty,
No, no, that looks
but
pretty
it
bad.
works. So, and like I'm feeling right here, like it's really bad here.
Looks good. Hey Bruce,
Yeah.
can't hear any of it.
Oh man,
You got to turn off your original
original
music.
sound. I
Yeah.
know. I know that. I
Turn
have to
that
do it all over again.
or put headphones on.
No, it's this will work now.
Okay. There you go. Excellent. Uh, Go back to the old put the original sound on again, or turn it off now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it changes the there you go.
Okay.
Otherwise you'll hear the echo. Man, that sounds great. Nobody on the planet has more fun playing the guitar than you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel sorry for everybody because they should. As
Yeah.
good especially as good as they all play.
Yeah, but I mean you just have a ton of fun doing it. So tell us about what's on your agenda these days. Are you you're on the road, you're recording. You tell me about some project where we talked on the phone that you were working on. What was
Oh
that?
God. Well, what happened was when I got this guitar, I had this idea for the poll winners, revisiting those poll winner sessions that Barney did with Ray and Shelley,
Right.
Ray Brown and Shelley Mann, which were the first real serious documentation of the guitar trio, which of course we jazz guitar players just think of as like a normal ensemble. But in 1957, when they first recorded it, really like the guitar was just growing up to be the instrument that could do that. It was usually like, with the vibes or with a piano or a second guitar. And of course, the electric guitar was only about 18 years old by about then. So, um, they made these poll winners record, which were just amazing trio records, like in the mode of a piano trio.
Right.
And I've always loved them. And of course, Barney was really rare in his career because he played one guitar pretty much throughout the whole career. A couple of little moments he played other things, and of course in the studio he did. But in general, this guitar was with him, all the way through it.
The whole time.
It's a 46 ES 350, and so when I was visiting Barney and then visiting Phyllis, his widow, after he passed, I just had this idea. I said to her, I said, man, like John Clayton, who was like Ray Brown's, was mentored by Ray Brown, has Ray's bass, and Jeff Hamilton, who I play with, was mentored by Shelley, and I know that Gary Hobbs has his drums, so why don't we get the instruments back together and kind of make it like a tribute in that sense? And of course, like I played with Barney, I played with Shelley, I played with Ray, as did all those other guys did. It's like a family thing.
Sure.
So it seemed like a great idea. Well, Phyllis kind of liked the idea, but she was a little worried about me taking it and changing the strings. She wanted to leave it exactly as Barney had left it when he passed,
Right.
for obvious reasons. And so that project never happened. But then when I finally got the guitar, during this pandemic, about 2 years, it's just about 2 years ago right now, I got
Yeah.
it. I called the guys and said, hey, let's do this project. And, the pandemic, no one was really working too much. So we had the time to do it. And we went in and we recorded a record called Reunion. And it became like the Reunion Trio. And the concept is just basically kids getting together playing their parents' instruments. That's the philosophy behind it. And lo and behold, it became. I mean, I just thought it was just going to be a record pandemic project because we're all so busy. And then what ended up happening was people started calling us for work, and we kind of said, "Yeah, we like playing together. Let's do this thing." And so we've been playing lots of gigs. So that's a big project that's going right now. A totally unexpected one.
Yeah.
It's like a surprise baby or something. And I'm still doing the red guitar, which is where I play and tell a story at the same time. It's like a one man show, all
Right.
kind of a Broadway or off Broadway presentation. Um, I'm still doing that. I'm playing duo and trio, and with some bands. I'm still getting a lot of sideman calls. And here in my town, I'm sort of like the human karaoke machine. It's like you call your tune, you tell me the key, and I give you an intro, and you do your thing, and then I take a solo, make some noise, bring you back, and then I put an ending on it. You know what I mean? And then you put a little more in the machine, and you get more. So I'm kind of popular with a lot of singers and horn players for duo gigs, and I love doing that. So
Yeah. I can imagine.
I mean, I'm a strong time player, as you can probably tell.
Yeah.
Uh, I think you gave me that compliment once, actually. I think at the last Archtop Festival, you came up and said to me like that you thought I was one of the only guitar players you'd ever heard who could like just play lines and keep everything swinging together.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. You have an uncanny. Your time is just impeccable. I mean, it's just you have an
And
uncanny way to I mean, if somebody wants to know anything about time and phrasing, they need to listen to you because you play with it. You'll have one phrase that's behind it, one phrase that's in front of it, one phrase that's on top of it, but it's always there. It's always, I mean, you always kind of know where the swing is, and it's one of the things that makes you, when you listen to
yeah,
you play, what separates this player from that player, what this thing, and yeah, you're It's uncanny, and all those notes come out of the guitar, beautifully articulated and all that. That, as a friend of mine used to say, that shit just doesn't happen on its own.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I will, it's the drummers really for me. I
Yeah,
mean, I've played with so many great drummers throughout my entire life. I was just lucky. I was in a town that had a lot of great musicians, and there
yeah,
was a lot of music playing. I grew up in San Francisco, and so they were pretty much sticklers for. I mean, they not only showed you how to do it, but they demanded that it be in a certain place, or you just didn't hang. And so and then of course I played with all the famous drummers you want to mention in the older jazz
yeah.
world. A lot, not just once.
You know who else was like that was Pat Martino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I asked his drummer one night. I was listening, I was at one of his last gigs. I said, "Man," I said, how do you hold on to that? Because Pat drove the band. I
Yeah.
mean, more than because he played piano. I mean, organ trio a lot, but he drove the band. I mean, he used to play with a Marshall cabinet, for God's sakes.
I know.
So I guess 412 Marshall cabinet.
I know.
And it was like, you know, and I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm going, oh my God. I mean, I felt sorry for the guy because I mean he was definitely doing it. Don't get me wrong. He's a
Yeah.
top drummer, but there was no question in anybody's mind in that band who was pushing the time. It was
Uh-huh.
Pat. With single note lines. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, whoa. And you're the same way. I mean, you probably manipulate time more than Pat did.
Yeah. I don't have. I mean, Pat was like a unbelievable, almost like I mean, and I
Yeah.
don't mean this in a bad way. He was like a machine.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was just boom metric and
Yeah.
pretty much always phrased the same way.
Yep.
I like varied articulation a
Yeah.
lot more.
You
That's
you
something.
yeah, you play with it more.
Yeah.
Just as precise, but you do it with intention. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean, to me, but the people who I'm most influenced by on the line side are people like Charlie Parker
yeah.
and Cannonball Adderley and Fats Navarro and Lee Morgan. I mean, those Freddie Hubbard, those people who kind of play that way. So that's my concept for playing melody comes from that approach. And just like my kind of concept for playing harmony comes more from piano players because really most of my work in my life has been subbing, replacing piano players in groups. I mean, horn players would hire me, because I could take care of the chord thing and then and take a solo, and so a lot of this kind of interactive with the harmony and the melody and the inner voice leading and all that stuff. And it's because I like to comp and I like to be in the rhythm section. A lot of that stuff you talk about time is the fact that I really like to be in the rhythm section comping for
Yeah.
somebody.
I'm going to ask you a question because we're going to kind of keep it. Believe it or not, we've been talking almost a half an hour.
Jesus,
Yeah, I know.
fun flies.
Except for my choking. So I'm going to ask you a question because you've had a not that it's over by any stretch of imagination because you're just you're flying high and cruising with got the power, throttles up, going. What is the one thing if you were to that is there any point in your career or something that you did or somebody you played with that just sort of like stands out for you? Is that one moment where you wow, here I am, or is there anything or this studio or that stage or this guy or
There are a lot of them, but then I'm just going to go for the one since you asked that question, I'm going to go for the first one that came to mind.
oh,
Okay.
that's the one I
I
want.
was in Italy playing with Jack McDuff and Jimmy Cobb.
Oh wow.
And and at the end of the gig, I guess I was hanging out over at the bar, talking to somebody, and Jimmy Cobb came up to me and said, he said, I carried your amp to the car for you. I just want to thank you for holding this gig together.
All
I mean,
right.
Jimmy Cobb, like kind of saying like giving me something to play with. Like because MacDuff kind of at that point in his career, the time was a bit moving. Can we say, and organ trios in general, there's a more floaty version of time than like a bass player and a drummer gets. You know what I mean? Because the organ player's doing so much, and just the sound of the organ gets kind of flabby at times.
Oh yeah.
And then
Well,
with McDuff at that point in his career, he was kind of moving around, and Jimmy just like thanked me for like he giving him something like straight that he could like hang with, you know, and swing with, you know, and like when Jimmy Cobb says that to you, it's like, holy shit, you know, it was like, whoa.
you know, I got lucky enough to hear him play just before he passed.
Mhm.
He came down to the Velvet Note and played a gig, and I can't remember who he was. He was on the gig with somebody, like, so he was somebody's uncle or I mean, I can't remember why he showed up, but I'll be dipped in, you know what, you know, and the Velvet Note's a 40-seat club, you know, and there's Jimmy frickin' Cobb sitting at the,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, and he sounded phenomenal. I mean, just it was like, oh, that's how it's done. You know, it was
Yeah.
one of those kind of things. You know, because you hear a lot of people can play, but and you listen to and you're watching what he's doing, and man, it was like, I guess it was like watching Picasso paint or something. I don't really even know, but
Well, you know, and I've had lots of those experiences, and mostly when I think back to it, it's almost always drummers that I think of. But um, what you're saying is so true, Bob. You know, you go, whoa. You know, all I can say is you can magnify that if you're playing with it. That feeling you had sitting in the club, I can only
uh,
tell you, it's like it's exponentially deeper when you're playing with it and you're on
yeah,
the bandstand.
I
You
no,
know,
I can't even imagine.
I mean, I played with Elvin, I played with Art Blakey, I played with Philly Joe Jones, you know, and Shelly Manne. You know, I've played
Yeah,
with and numerous times, you know, and I mean,
yeah,
and it's like, and a lot of other guys who are really equally great, you know, who you don't know about too.
yeah,
And that really, to me, informs every note I play. You know, it does. It's just like having this guitar.
yeah.
It's every day. I mean, imagine I'm sitting here playing with the guitar that played the introduction to, you know, to Cry Me a River with Julie London, you know?
Turn
You know
off
that
your,
one?
yeah,
Oh, I have to turn the thing off now. Just
yeah.
a second.
Turn the thing off so we can hear it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's like, and this guitar played with oh, sorry, there. This guitar played with Billie Holiday, Lester Young. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and I was on the road with him when I think it was Qantas broke the headstock off. You know, we were in Australia, so just, you know, there's a thing about being part of a legacy. You know, and I mean, just like humbly, I'm not saying that I am. You know, I'm not
No,
putting in the
I get it.
saying I'm in a family, and like I actually have artifacts and experiences of these humans, and it lives inside of me, and it's what informs how I want to be, and informs how I want to get better.
You know, I've never, ever, ever, in the times that I've talked with you, been around you, even observed you like on video and stuff like that, have ever seen one drop of what I'm going to call ego come out of you.
Wow.
It's always been like incredibly gracious and grateful and appreciative of all the gifts that you have and your ability to do things and just digging it. No, I mean you're you know, there's a lot of guys that aren't like you. I'm just gonna
I
tell you.
know, and I think it's sad, you know. I mean,
Uh,
and that's kind of a personal pet peeve. I mean, I don't know if you've experienced cowbop,
yeah,
my
I have, yeah,
in my Western swing bebop comedy band.
yeah,
You know, I grew up, and granted, my first experiences were playing. Well, Richie Cole was a big one. I played with Dizzy. I played with Bobby Hutcherson, Ray Brown, and Freddie Hubbard. All of them. They were my earliest, you know, band, you know, big stature band experiences.
right,
And every one of those guys was having fun.
yeah,
Every one of those guys, they were funny and they were having fun, and they didn't take themselves seriously. I mean, they could present themselves, you know, I mean,
yeah,
but it was all like, I mean, let's face it, the music humbles you. Anybody who tries to do this, I mean, you can't really walk around thinking you're like great. The
Well,
instrument every day just spanks, the music spanks you in the face. You know what I mean? Bam. What do you think? You can do this? No, you can't.
I'm
And
gonna I'm gonna tell you something. Then I'm reluctant to say this because, but I interview a lot of people and I'm around a lot of people and people, I get calls from people that want to, be interviewed and be in the magazine and all that kind of stuff. Thank God, and we're really grateful for what's happened with this thing in about 5 years now. The bigger the artist, the nicer the person. And all of the guys that are like at the top of the heap are the nicest, humblest, most wonderful freaking people you ever want to talk to. And the only time I ever run into, and it's not like the only time I ever run into guys that I just say, God, what a dick, are guys that they're so wannabe. It's not like that they're on the scene. It's just they're so wannabe. So what I find is that, the guys that really are there, been there, done it, get it, all that kind of stuff. They're just like you say, they're just humble guys and they appreciate everything. They're having fun doing it. They appreciate each other. And you exemplify that,
Well, I mean, and just, to articulate deeper into that, there's two elements. One is like, is like these guys like Freddie and Bobby and Barney, who I played with a lot. Yes, the music kicks you in the ass, and they're on the search to make the best music possible.
Sure.
With time left in life.
Right.
We're all kind of doing that. But they were super competitive. I mean, they would love to just tear you to shreds on the bandstand. I mean, there was still that element. A lot of times, where it was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and you'd walk off the stage bloody. But I mean, but it was like not done to belittle somebody. It was
no, it's a spirit of competition.
In the spirit of competition, and
Yeah.
in really, because when you're trying to kick somebody's ass, you're pushing your own self to be better.
And you want those guys to be great because you want them to, it's no fun to go out and play a tennis match against somebody's grandmother that's never played before.
Right.
I mean, that's no fun. Yeah, you're gonna win. Yeah, you're gonna win, but that's no fun. You want someone that's gonna hit the ball so that when you hit a great shot, they appreciate it. They know, oh man, wow, great shot.
Right, and it may even come back in your face.
Yeah, of course. And you go, wow, I got away with that one. I mean, I mean that's what you want. You want those guys. Those are your peers. Those are your colleagues. Those are the people that that you want in your life and around with you. So it's great.
And someone once said to me, and I think they were quoting another famous musician,
Yeah.
But it always stuck with me. I mean, in terms of like, I like to have fun when I'm playing, and I've always admired the guys. Like Dizzy, no one ever played any better than Dizzy, but he was having fun when he was playing. So to me, this sort of like, and Louis Armstrong sure looked like he was having fun, and no one ever sounded better than that to me.